Hong Kong's pro-democracy newspaper, the Apple Daily, has announced that it will be printing its last edition on Thursday. This after the Daily was raided by the police and its tycoon owner, as well as its other staff members, being arrested under the new national security law. The end of the popular 26-year-old tabloid has raised alarm over media freedom and other rights in the city. The paper's publisher, Next Digital, has said that due to the prevailing circumstances, Apple Daily will have to shut shop. The police last week froze assets of companies linked to the newspaper and arrested 5 executives. The police arrested a columnist of the paper over suspicion of conspiring to collude with a foreign country or foreign forces. Hong Kong authorities have said dozens of Apple Daily pieces may have violated the security law. Rights groups, media organizations and Western governments have criticized last week's police raid on the newspaper. The newspaper had come under immense pressure after its owner, Jimmy Lai, was arrested last August. The tycoon had been one of the biggest donors of Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. Joining us is Richard Kimber for more on these developments. Joining us from Hong Kong. Richard, tell us more about the circumstances under which this decision has been taken and what lies ahead now for Apple Daily and its employees.
Looking very difficult for the newspaper. It says that it has 2 major concerns trying to go forward. One is the financial situation it's in, and one is concerns over the safety of its staff. On the financial front, it has more than $2 million of its assets still frozen by authorities in Hong Kong as part of these national security investigations. It says without some of that money being unfrozen, it simply cannot pay its staff and it cannot continue. Also significantly, the founder of the newspaper, the pro-democracy activist and media tycoon Jimmy Lai, he's currently in jail already, serving a sentence over pro-democracy protest activities from a couple of years ago. He's had more than $60 million of his own assets frozen as part of his own investigations, and that money, it's understood, has actually been funding a lot of the Apple Daily operations in recent months, meaning that with that money no longer available either to the newspaper, it's almost impossible for it to see a future for itself financially. The second reason I mentioned there is concern over the safety for its staff. That's because earlier Wednesday, another member of its senior reporting team was arrested by police as part of this same national security investigation, and the newspaper's concerned that after 5 of its executives being arrested and 2 of them charged under the national security law, this pattern of arrests could continue if it continues publishing.
Right. The announcement of Apple Daily's closure raises serious question marks all over again over press freedom in Hong Kong. Give us a sense of the mood on the ground and the reactions on the crackdown against Apple Daily and overall under the national security law.
Well, there's a hugely wave of public support towards this newspaper. It's one of the most read publications in Hong Kong, and with a 26-year history, it's become one of the most popular and loved publications, particularly because of its confidence to still stand up to the authorities despite all of the political turmoil here in recent years. This has also sparked a crisis among the wider media industry because of concerns that this will lead to further pressure on other publications that may not have such a straightforward anti-government stance as the Apple Daily has done during its time in publication. There are concerns that independent news organizations or other smaller publications that do take a somewhat critical stance on government may also face similar pressures. There have been calls from the media industry for more clarification from the government about what exactly constitutes breaches of the law when it comes to journalistic work. That question was put directly to Chief Executive Carrie Lam during her question and answer session with journalists earlier this week, but she dismissed that and said journalists should well understand that the law is very clear and there should be no misunderstandings about what is and what is not acceptable. She also criticised specifically the US government for what she said was a beautifying of the Apple Daily situation, and she said that international governments are simply ignoring the fact that this is a fundamental legal and police investigation and that it should be respected as such, and that any accusations that this is part of some kind of media crackdown are simply, she said, not true.